Hi, this is Mani Pikai, Solution Engineer. So today I'll be talking about integrating PicOS NAC with ISE. So let us get started. We are talking about wired, secure wired access. Secured wire network is essential to prevent unauthorized users from connecting their devices to the network. Using ISE, network admins can provide secure network access by authenticating. There are different methods for authenticating. You see on the left-hand side, 802.1x, MAB, and WebAuth. Also, Cisco ISE is used for authorizing users. What I mean by authorizing, you can assign specific VLANs, you can assign specific ACL, what user can access and what user cannot access through authorization policy. So ISE does both authentication and authorization. So that's what we will, look into in this integration example. So to integrate PicOS with Cisco ISE, on the NAC, we have these 6 steps. So let us jump into look at one by one. At the end, you will be familiar how to integrate PicOS NAC with ISE. So I am logged into the Cisco portal. So first thing you need to do is import a dictionary. So I'm going here to the policy dictionaries and expand on the system and expand on the radius. So radius vendors, so this is where you need to add the dictionary. So here you will click import, select the dictionary. I'm not going to do it now, but that's what you will do and click import. So once you import it, you will see the PicOS dictionary in here in this tab, policy elements, radius, under system radius and radius vendors. So here is the one that we imported. You can click and look at the details. These are the details of the dictionary, and dictionary has these attributes. So what we have done is we imported a PicOS dictionary. That's the first part of integration. Second, we need to configure network profile for PicOS access switches. So I'll show you how to do it. So I'm back on the ISE GUI. So you will go into admin network device profiles. So this is where we are going to add a profile for PicOS. Basically, you'll be clicking add. I'm going to show you the already added one. So you would enter some detail. We provide you a PicOS icon. You add it here. Vendor will be other. Click on the radius. Here you will select PicOS dictionary that we already imported. Then you need to set a bunch of authentication and authorization profile. So these are the parameters you need to set. Like, I'm not going to read each one of them. This is all in the user guide. Mainly you will set authentication and authorization profile for wired MAB use case and wired 802.1 use case as shown here. Then you will click on these for MAB. You will click on these options for the host lookup. That's what will be used for the host lookup. Then you expand permissions. So what we are setting here is ISE is going to dynamically assign VLANs and ACL, for users and devices. So you select these as shown here. On the ACL, you select radius filter ID. That'll be the dynamic ACL that we will be using. Then expand on the COA, enter as shown. Again, you don't need to note any of these down. These are all in the guide. Then you select what happens when a port is disconnected, a device is disconnected, or port bounces. These are the parameters that you need to set to make action when that condition happens. Again, these are all in the guide. After you do it, you would select this RFC and click submit. So that concludes setting a network device profile for PicOS. So the third part is adding a PicOS network device. We created a profile. Now we need to add all the PicOS switches, access switches, so ISE knows which one it needs to control to provide secured access. So let us add a PicOS device. So you would come here to the admin window and then click on network devices. So I recommend first you create one device, and everything else you can import it from CSV file. So I'll show you how to do it. So first one, you will click add. So we are going to add the first one. So here I have branch switches Dell 3048. I give a name. This is the management IP. This can be in band or it can be out of band. I select the model name, version, and select the logo we provided. And this is very important. The communication between the switch and ISE is all encrypted. We used this shared key. So you enter a shared key and remember that because it's all going to be masked. So once you do it, you will click submit. That's how you will, add one device. And once you added a device, what you can do is export it. Like if you click this, it'll let you export to a CSV file. Then you can add all access switch IPs, and then you can import it. That's how you can get a bunch of devices added in ISE. So what we talked about is adding a PicOS network device in ISE. Now we need to configure. We finished integration configuration on the ISE side. Now we are going to look at the PicOS switch side. So on the switch, you need to do global configuration command and port specific command. I will walk that through in detail. So here we are. I am logged into the switch that we just now added. You need to enter a few global commands. I will show them what they are. So these first two commands, whatever the key you set there, this one is pointing to the ISE IP with the shared key. So this is what connects the switch software with the ISE using the shared key for communication mechanism. The next command is Radius Dynamic Authorization Client. This is the one from which switch accepts change of authorization, so it can get policies from the ISE. And one other command you have to give it in global, that is this specific command I'm going to show you. So this is my own IP, right? So these are the three the switch management IP. So these are the three commands you need to do. It's that simple. Those are global config. Now we need to configure the ports for authentication and authorization. I'll show you what you need to do on the ports. So you will configure these 4 commands on all the ports. You can see here I configured this as a trunk. That means ISE can push any VLAN dynamically. It can be a voice VLAN, it can be a user VLAN, specific VLANs, where what user can access and not access are pushed from the ISE. That's why we are keeping it as trunk. Then I have enabled the 802.1x and MAC radius, which is MAC address bypass authentication. So we enabled 2 authentication, and we enabled host mode as multiple. Multiple means you can connect multiple endpoints to the same port. So here is an example where in a single port a phone is connected and a laptop is connected behind the phone. essentially we are talking about two devices connected to the same port. So when you have multiple, it allows multiple devices can be authenticated on the same port. So all your ports will have these 4 lines. Based on the endpoint and based on the user, if the device has an 802.1x applicant, 802.1x authentication and authorization will kick in. If that is not the case, if the supplicant is not there, based on the, so that is the user authentication. There are IoT devices, printer and stuff. For those, we will use MAB authentication. So that's how it works. First, it'll check whether it's 802.1x. If it is not 802.1x, then it'll do MAB authentication. So this, based on the device, it'll fall into one of the authentication method. So you configure this on all ports. So we have finished configuring the NAC commands. Now what I'm going to do is make sure I can ping ISE server from PicOS switch. So we are currently checking the connectivity before we can verify. So I'm pinging, and there you can see we are able to see switch can reach the ISE. The last command in integration, whether I integrated properly, is .1x software in PicOS running. Did it connect with ISE? You run this command called show .1x server. So it shows it's reachable. So this is the entire part of integration that's made simple, and I broke it down into steps. Next video, we will talk about specific use cases. With these 6 steps, we have already integrated PicOS NAC with ISE.